All right, let's talk about those fiery torches you sometimes see burning at oil fields. It's a practice called gas flaring, and today we're going to dig into why it's a much bigger climate threat than you might think, all based on the latest Global Gas Flaring Tracker report. I want to start with just one number, 389 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent. Now, that's just a way of lumping all the different greenhouse gases together under one measurement. It's a huge number, obviously, but what does it actually represent? Well, that is the grand total of emissions from gas flaring just this year. And here's the thing. It's a brand new record high. So even with all the talk about cutting emissions, this one particular problem is actually getting worse. So what exactly is gas flaring anyway?
Okay, so first up, what is gas flaring? Let's get into the basics and really understand the why behind those constant flames.
At its heart, the idea is pretty simple. When you're drilling for oil, a whole bunch of natural gas comes up with it. And if you don't have the pipelines or storage tanks ready to capture that gas, well, the easiest and cheapest thing to do is just to burn it off right there. But it's not always just an economic choice. It really boils down to three main reasons why this happens. The big one is routine flaring. That's basically when it's just cheaper to burn the gas than to build the infrastructure to sell it. Then you've got emergency flaring, which is a critical safety measure, kind of like a release valve to prevent dangerous pressure buildups. And finally, there's unplanned flaring, which, as you can guess, is what happens when things break or the power goes out.
And what are they actually burning in these flares? Well, it's a whole cocktail of different gases. The main ingredient is methane, of course, but there's also CO2, some other hydrocarbons, and these things called volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. Now, in theory, burning this cocktail is supposed to convert all that harmful methane into less potent CO2. But that's where the story gets really, really interesting.
Because here's the secret. The problem isn't just the CO2 that the flame creates. The real hidden threat is the methane that doesn't get burned, the stuff that just escapes.
So let's go back to that massive 389 million ton number we started with. If we break it down, you can see that most of it is CO2 from the combustion. But look at that smaller slice right there. That's 46 million tons of unburnt methane just whooshing straight into the atmosphere. And don't let its size fool you, its impact is absolutely huge.
And this right here shows you exactly why. It's the tail of the tape, CO2 versus methane. Over a 20-year period, a molecule of methane is between 84 and 87 times more powerful at trapping heat in our atmosphere than a molecule of CO2. So that seemingly small slice of unburnt gas is having a massively outsized effect on warming our planet. It's kind of like a climate supervillain hiding in plain sight.
Okay, so now we know what it is and why it's so much worse than it looks. The next logical question has to be, where is this all happening?
Well, the report zeroes in on 9 countries as the main sources, and it's a list that includes some of the biggest oil producers in the world. We're talking Russia, Iran, Iraq, and the United States, along with others like Venezuela, Algeria, and Nigeria.
Now get ready for another pretty shocking number. 76%. What do you think that could possibly refer to?
Get this. Over 3/4, 76% of all gas flaring in the entire world comes from just those 9 nations we just saw. And what's really wild is that these same 9 nations produce less than half of the world's oil. That tells you the problem isn't everywhere. It's highly concentrated in just a few specific places.
So, with such a concentrated problem, you'd think it would be easy to watch, right? So how is the world keeping tabs on this, and what's the game plan to actually fix it?
All of this data we've been looking at comes from one key place, the World Bank's Global Gas Flaring Tracker. It is the only global and independent watchdog for this issue, using satellites to monitor flaring all over the world and to track progress, or in this case, the lack of it.
And they are tracking progress towards a very, very ambitious goal, eliminating all routine flaring by the year 2030. But as we saw at the very beginning of all this, emissions just hit a record high. So the final question this data leaves us with is a big one. With the trend literally going in the wrong direction, is hitting this crucial 2030 target even possible anymore?